Well, that was kind of cool. I'm headed to work this morning. Thought we would have a little chat, and just drove past. I startled 5 moose over the course of about a eighth of a mile. They leapt up from the willows beside the road, and fortunately didn't run in front of me. But I'm kept complete attention on the road, so everything will be okay. Today, I wanted to chat a little bit about what it is that you deserve and what it is that I deserve. And the reason I'm thinking of this at the moment is I listen to a lot of internet radio. I have my favorite station on Pandora that I listen to, or that I've built or whatever. And I get these commercials a lot of times saying, you deserve this. You deserve a good night's sleep. You know, for the safety you deserve. All these things that I deserve. And it made me think, no, I don't think I do. And I don't think you deserve it either. Do you? So this is the question that comes up is, what rights, what positive rights do you have? Do you even have any rights of any sort? Do you have negative rights? And now the difference between negative and positive rights. Negative rights are basically a right that people can't do something to you, and a positive right is that someone must do something for you. So in other words, if you have a right not to be punched by me, then that's a negative right. If you have a right to be hugged by me, then that's a positive right, because that puts an obligation on me to do some hugging. And I'm kind of not much of a hugger, so that would be, that would not be something I would probably want to do. So negative and positive rights, I think you don't have any. I don't even think you have any negative rights. I think we all just kind of happen to be out here on this big rock we call Earth. We're hanging out, we see other people, we see wolves and bear and moose, and we see all these different critters, and some of the critters are smart enough to say, hey, how about instead of us living in this constant natural state of fear, I don't know if you're going to attack me, I don't know if you're going to hug me or if you're going to punch me, why don't we just kind of have this agreement that it can be a casual agreement, but we're just going to have this agreement that we don't initiate violence against each other. And, you know, you don't have a right to not get punched by me, but I'm extending that to you and saying, hey, man, tell you what, I'll never punch you if you'll never punch me. How about we just don't punch each other? And now, by the way, if you ever do punch me, then you have violated this right that I think I have, which we're not calling them rights. We're saying it's a mutual agreement. So if you ever punch me, now it's okay for me to punch you. And I would even extend that to say that a lot of people, all of my friends, have made this agreement. And now it's not this official written agreement. It's just kind of a verbal, nonverbal agreement that, hey, you don't get to punch anybody. And if you don't punch anybody else or initiate violence against them, steal from them, you know, initiating violence against their property or something like that, if you don't do that, then I won't initiate violence against you. I won't steal from you. Now, here's where it all goes out the window. If you initiate violence against some guy over there who was part of our little club, our little group, who said, nah, we don't want to be in this scary natural state. If you initiate violence against that person, now you're no longer protected by our agreement. There's a clause in our agreement that says if you initiate violence against anybody in our club, now you are out of the club and you no longer have a right to anything. And this is the idea of, I don't like the name, so I'm not even going to use it, but there's a philosophy that Patrick Smith and Christian Moore have come up with that I very much agree with. The part I don't agree with them about is whether or not it's subjective or objective. And we're actually going to have a chat about that. And I hope to be persuaded that it isn't subjective, though I think that it is. But that's going to be our argument, our debate among friends. So what do you think about this? Does this make sense to you that this could be a good kind of agreement to join other folks in? This I don't even want to call it an association, but I guess it could be. We just all agree. And I'll even take that back. I shouldn't say we will all agree. There will be people who won't agree to be part of this. And the animals aren't going to agree to be part of it because they can't. And there are a lot of details that are to be hashed out. But as a general framework, doesn't this concept sound good? Doesn't it sound like this could be a good way for humans to organize themselves? Now, it wouldn't be perfect. It certainly wouldn't be perfect. I can't think of any system of human organization that would be perfect. And now I know that there are these people who believe in this perfect utopia. Oh, if only we had the United States Constitution as it was written by the slave owners. If that's how things were, then everything would be lovely again. Well, no, that's utopia. It's never going to be perfect. There are going to be bad people who do bad things. Not everyone is going to agree to not initiate violence. And we're going to have to figure that out. Some people are going to steal. Some people are going to steal by not paying their debts. They're going to make promises that they don't keep. There's going to be dishonesty. There are going to be people who beat their wives and molest children and do all kinds of nasty stuff. There are going to be people who vote. There are going to be people who try to start governments. There are going to be some bad people out there. But I think when I compare it to the current system, or what little I know of history, when I compare it to any of those systems, those broken systems, yeah, I think that could be a good way of going about it. I'm going to put a link to the philosophy down below that I'm talking about, and I'll tell you what it is. It's anti-subjectivism. I'm not persuaded that the name is accurate, but I'm going to put a link down there. It's the best philosophy that I have found so far, and I encourage you to check it out. Punch holes in it. Patrick and Christian both have the attitude of, if you don't give us rigorous fight upon this thing, we're not going to be able to perfect it. So when you find holes in it, you've got to be logical and use reason. You can't just, I feel that there's a butterfly god who presented a natural law and therefore blah, blah, blah. Like, it has to be reason-based. It has to be logic. It has to be like the basic foundational building blocks of philosophy. Those have to be met. But like, they're looking for good, sound arguments, which I plan to present to them. So far, I presented several, and so far I've come out of the conversation thinking, I think you guys are right. So why don't you argue with them? You argue with me. Let's all argue with each other and see if we can come up with a little bit more perfected system that isn't going to be perfect, but it's going to be a heck of a lot better than the way that humans have lived over the last 5 or 10,000 or 6,000 years.